Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Russell here, and just yesterday, the Canada Revenue Agency put out a press release that announced a whole bunch of details when it comes to the Canada Worker Lockdown benefit, the $300 per week benefit that has been recently expanded in its eligibility so that more people can apply for it. Now, in this press conference, they reveal some new details about some people who may have applied for this benefit in the past and how that may affect their future applications, as well as the first official list of areas across the country that have been deemed lockdown regions, allowing the people who live inside of these regions to apply for these benefits. And this is actually something that you can apply for retroactively. So in some circumstances, some people will be able to apply for a $2,430 first time payment because they're going to be able to apply for these periods retroactively back to when the program first started. So in today's video, we're going to go over this press release, all of the details inside of it, as well as the list of the different zones that are now considered lockdown regions, as well as how you can calculate whether or not you can apply for more retroactive periods and get, again, up to that $2,430 maximum of first time payment amount. But before we do, make sure to check out the links in the description where you can learn more about building wealth here in Canada with the Canada Money Mastery Program, or open up accounts with Wealthsimple or NDAX if you want to purchase cryptocurrency. Whenever you use those links, it directly supports the channel, so I appreciate that. But now let's take a look at this press conference so we can find out exactly what's going on here. So here's the news release that came out yesterday. That's December 30th, 2021. They say the government of Canada is committed to supporting Canadian workers, businesses, and service providers through this pandemic. On December 22nd, the government announced that it would be expanding the eligibility for the Canada Worker Lockdown benefit. You might remember that previously, under the previous rules for this benefit, absolutely no one could apply for it because no one was in 100% lockdown. But now they've broadened that to allow for 50% restrictions on capacity for that to be considered a lockdown region. And they say they're doing this to better support Canadian workers. And today, Diane Labouthier, who's the Minister of National Revenue, the one who takes care of everything regarding the CRA, announced that this expanded access to the Canada Worker Lockdown benefit that was announced last week is now in effect, and Canadians in designated regions affected by these lockdowns and capacity restrictions can officially apply for the benefit. Applications are now open. And they say that currently British Columbia, Alberta, Manitoba, Ontario, Quebec, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, PEI, Newfoundland and Labrador, none of it are included in the list of designated lockdown regions. We'll go into that list in a second to get more specific, and that this list will be updated as provincial or territorial governments introduce changes to these restrictions. And they want to make sure that Canadians still have the support they need to deal with the impacts related to the evolving Omicron variant, while also supporting a strong economic recovery. And here they continue to outline the changes in eligibility. Here just explaining that this 50% loss of income, as well as a 50% restriction capacity change, that's actually what's going to make you eligible for this benefit, alongside a number of different things. And here they go into list a number of these things that you have to have done or have to sort of check off to be eligible. You have to have earned at least $5,000 in the past 2 years or in the past 12 months. So either in 2020, 2021, or in the past 12 months, earning that $5,000 minimum income, as well as filing last year's tax return, your 2020 tax return. And also, again, here they say that the region where you work has to be in a lockdown region. Again, that's the 50% capacity limitation. We're going to go over the list that confirms that you are in a lockdown region, as well as being in this lockdown region. You have to have also lost your job or are unemployed as a result of this, or you're self-employed but unable to continue your work as a result of this, as well as being employed or self-employed but having a reduction in at least 50% of your average weekly income. Now, in certain situations, they may ask you to sort of provide more details. First, about earning this minimum $5,000, even though you've done your taxes. Sometimes they'll ask you to provide proof of this, especially if it's in the last 12 months. And then also what they make sure to ask you to verify in certain situations is that you do have this 50% reduction of income, although they may verify this after the fact. And here is another important thing to note, especially if you're someone who tried to apply for this benefit as soon as it was announced. They say that individuals who tried to apply for the benefit prior to yesterday at noon in regions that weren't designated as eligible by the CRA, so this list hadn't come out yet, they've been asked to call the CRA at this number to speak to an agent to finalize their application. My guess is that some people called into the CRA and said, hey, I'm eligible for this benefit as of today. I should be able to apply for it. And by my guess is is that these CRA agents hadn't gotten this list of officially recognized lockdown regions, so they weren't able to process the benefit application. But it seems that if you call them back now, they should be able to actually process this benefit because you're now eligible because the list is now finally out. If you want more information about those eligibility requirements, you can find them by just Googling CWLB, Canada Worker Lockdown Benefit. And if you want to apply for any of these benefits, the best way in most cases is to sign into your MyCRA account. You can do most of it online. Although if you are blocked out of your CRA account for any reason, you can call on the phones. Again, you can find those CRA numbers on the Canada Worker Lockdown Benefit website. But now let's take a closer look at the newly released list of which zones are actually truly considered under this lockdown so that you're eligible for the Canada Worker Lockdown Benefit. Now you'll see here there's a number of different cities in Quebec as well as the Northwest Territories up here that have started these lockdown, being considered in a region of lockdown far earlier than the rest of the provinces. These are instances where the municipal government or the provincial government claimed that they were in a lockdown well before the mass of provinces started claiming these lockdowns or these 50% reductions in capacity as a result of the Omicron variant. So you can see here that in all of these cities, depending on where you started, you may be able to be eligible for previous periods and apply for those all at once. So you're going to want to check to see which zone you're in and check what the start of your benefit period is via this list. So there's going to be unique people who have these earlier dates, but for most people, it's going to be this December 19th, 2021 start date, and these lockdowns are ongoing. So when it comes time for us to determine which periods we're applying for, well, this is largely going to be based off of this date, so make a mental note of whichever zone you're personally in and when your start date was. So here again on the Canada Worker Lockdown Benefit website, you can see all of the periods for which you can apply for this benefit. Again, the best way to apply is going to your MyCRA account and applying for the benefit through that portal. But here you can see that there's a number of periods previous to now that you could be eligible to apply for. Again, if that starting date from that list we just looked at was back in these periods, in these earlier weeks that this benefit was available. Now for most people, this just says upcoming right now, but I think that that's a glitch because when we click on it here, most people are going to be starting on December 19th because all of those provinces, that's the start date, December 19th. So this period is actually able to be applied for right now, even though there's that sort of bug in the list here that says that that's upcoming. You can see that the period that you're applying for, you are able to first apply for that period on the Monday following the period. This will be familiar for anyone who is on the CRB, where you would have that 2-week chunk of time, and then you'd actually be applying for the previous 2 weeks of funding from that benefit on the following Monday. So the same goes here for the Canada Worker Lockdown Benefit. Because we're past the 27th of December, you can apply for this first week of Canada Worker Lockdown Benefit. Again, that's $300 or $270 once they take away 10% for tax. And you can see here as we go into the upcoming periods, you can see that the applications will again be on the following Monday. So once we're through this week and get to next Monday, you can apply for this current week that we're in right now. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense for you. And this benefit actually applies all the way until the end of, or until mid-May, or rather the beginning of May. However, these new changes for what the definition is of a lockdown region, well, that only applies until mid-February. So unless the government changes the definition again to allow for 50% capacity lockdowns further than mid-February, well, then most people who, again, were on that December 19th list, on the list of eligible regions, those people likely will be able to apply from now until mid-February, around period 17 here, unless their individual health region is no longer under those 50% capacity restrictions. I know it gets a little bit complex, and I know I'm doing my best here to sort of simplify it and break it down, but I hope that this makes it a little bit clearer for you. Let me know if you have any comments or questions down in the comments section. I try to get back to as many as I possibly can, and while you're down there, again, you can check out those links in the description. Whenever you use any of those links, it directly supports this channel and future content being made like this on the channel, so I appreciate it when you do that. But with all of that said, thanks so much for watching, everybody. I really hope this video helped you out at least a little bit, and I'll see you next time.